Welcome back to Green is Good, and I'm so honored to have my friend back on the show, Eva Radke. She's the president and founder of Film Biz Recycling, and you can check out all the cool things Eva's doing at filmbizrecycling.org. Welcome back to Green is Good, Eva.
Thank you for having me, John. I've missed you.
Oh, man, I miss you too, but I've been following you, and you've been blowing it up. You have been blowing it up in Brooklyn, and I'm so excited, and I'm so proud of what you've been doing. Before we get into all the cool things you've been up to over the years and the latest awards that you've won, I want you to share, though, for our listeners that didn't hear our first show together about 5 years ago now, I want you to share a little bit of the backstory of the Eva Radke backstory, how you even came to this place and you started this amazing company, Film Biz Recycling.
Okay, I'll put it in a nutshell for you. So I was in the film industry, mainly in the art department for 15 years. I saw a lot of our props and wardrobe and stuff going into landfills. I knew it was wrong. I know that there are families that needed these items. I knew putting it into landfills was wrong, creating pollution, and not on my watch. So the first thing I did, I started a little online group so we could share things virtually. Then I realized it also needed a place to go. So we got a brick-and-mortar space. That's when you and I first spoke. It was 2,700 square feet, up 2 flights of stairs. 5 years later, we're in 11,000 square feet, and we have 11 employees, and we're diverting waste in 11 different cities using that same platform that we used before.
Unbelievable, and I'm so proud of you and so excited for you, but there's even some bigger news. This year, you won the EPA's Environmental Media Award for environmental quality. What does this really mean for you, for your company, and for all the hard work you've put in over the years?
It was the ultimate validation, I have to say. When you have no model, when no one has done this before, when you don't have anyone to guide you in the right direction because it's a new idea, you don't know if you're a fool or if you're a genius, or on the right track. And so when the EPA reached out for us for their Environmental Quality Award, I was stunned and surprised and happy for the entire industry. Based, obviously, what if the EPA is going to recognize the efforts of reuse and redistribution and keeping things out of landfills as an industry as a whole, then yes, let's keep going. And it's a great way to convince others in the industry that aren't quite hip on what we're doing yet, that what we're doing is legitimate and it's actually making a difference. It was my absolute proudest moment.
Well, I'm on your website now, which is like one of the coolest websites on the planet. For our listeners out there who want to follow along like I am, filmbizrecycling.org. It's filmbiz, B-I-Z, recycling.org. So, Eva, for our listeners out there that didn't have the benefit of first learning about what you were doing when you started your company, what are you doing actually? What is the business model, and what are you up to every day?
Okay, so our input into our warehouse is a very niche market. It's only from film, television, theater, so any sort of production where you build a circus and you tear it down. We take all of the materials in, most of which goes to our charity partners. For instance, we have a women's shelter that gets our towels and appliances and things that they need around the house because they're starting their lives over and they need these packages. Anything that is animal related goes to our shelter. So we also divide it all up. If we need to recycle it, we take it to the e-waste warehouse. If it's other clothing, we have a textile recycler that we partnered with. So we just made these strategic partnerships and take everything in, send it down the right chute, but to create revenue for ourselves and pay our rent, et cetera, we also have an amazing shopping experience of 11,000 square feet in Brooklyn where you can come shop the props.
Wow. So when shows are done using clothing and props and furniture, they all go to you.
We are open, and we open for them to do that. We definitely don't capture 100%. I wish that we did. I would probably need a bigger warehouse. But we, since 2008, we've collected over 500 tons, and it's about 10 tons a month now that comes in. And at the end of the week, there's only half a bag of landfills, like tape and photographs and chip bags. That's about it. So we find a good home, whether it's recycled, reused, redistributed, for every single little bitty thing, down to the last toothpick.
So for our New York listeners or our listeners in the New York metropolitan area that want to come to your warehouse, if they come to your warehouse, what's the experience going to be like? Give us a virtual tour on, right now today on the show of your warehouse. What's it going to feel like, and what can they buy or do in your warehouse today?
Well, they are going to, first of all, it's a visual extravaganza. I mean, this is all comes from film and television and from the art director's eye, so it's all really amazing.
Cool.
There's like vintage furniture, trees painted bright orange. There's flora everywhere. We have wonderful clothing straight from the 80s that we're having a party for on Friday. We have artwork, and we have vintage phones and media. We have everything from VHS to records, and we have tape decks, and it's lighting. We have neon, carpeting, just everything that's absolutely like creme de la creme, the most beautiful and interesting. It's here. I have heard more than 10 times that this is people's happy place. It is gorgeous here and interesting and fascinating, and it's a look into the sort of the bowels of the film industry. Like, what do we do with all this stuff? It's unbelievable. I can't wait for you to come here.
That is so cool. I'm coming this year, and I'm coming this summer, and I can't wait to go for a tour. And I'm just so excited because what you're doing, I think, is so important to our environment. It's so important for all of us, and it's so inspirational in terms of a sustainable economy and a sustainable world. I think it's just so great. And talk a little bit about, you just had the Golden Dumpster Awards. What is that, and what are they, and who won the Golden Dumpster Awards?
Well, we had our second annual Golden Dumpster Awards, and I have to say this is a personal fantasy of mine. It's a little tongue-in-cheek. I mean, the entertainment industry loves to pat itself on the back, but we recognize people, productions, and businesses for environmental and social achievements. So, for instance, Emily O'Brien of Earth Angel, who's boots on the ground, like diverting the waste, and on films herself, she started this little company, an ecopreneur, and we recognize her because she is providing us with metrics, which is something that we really need. Metrics are so important. We also honor the PGA Green, who put out a fascinating report that proved over and over and over again that going green in film will save you green. There's no more excuses, producers. It's not more expensive to go green, to be sustainable. Pulp Art Services, they produce a recycled product that replaced a PVC thing that Scenics use. And so it was like, 40,000 gallons of oil are now saved because of this recycled paper product. Darren Aronofsky, Lenoble Lumber, which is our local lumber company in town, switched their Luan to only FSC certified Luan, which is huge. So when we see that our peers are doing these and making these strides, we have to recognize them, and it's a great excuse to get all of these green babes and babettes and dudes in the same room with a cocktail just and a drink, and recognize and celebrate and energize us to keep going and go on further.
And is all the stuff that you get out of just the New York studios and all the New York movies and television that's being filmed, or do you also get stuff from other parts of the country and other parts of the world?
Just New York. Just New York. I mean,
unbelievable.
If someone said I'm in LA and I want to give this to you, I'd say please give it to your local reuse, because just the carbon to get it to me isn't worth it. No, I don't want that.
Right.
I want it to be local.
But it's just so amazing how big you've grown the business, and it's just New York based, and it's just so fascinating. From 2,700 feet to 11,000 square feet, that's just a great story. And all the awards, and this year's EPA Environmental Quality Award, I just love it. Talk a little bit about this year's upcoming in the fall, the Eco Expo. What is that, and who's going to be there, and what does that all mean?
Well, this will be our fourth Eco Expo. We do two events, the Golden Dumpsters, and now we do the Eco Expo in November. And that is just an industry-centric outreach and education evening out. So last year was lumber, and so we had someone speak from the Forest Stewardship Council. This year, we're going to talk about fuel. We're going to talk about trucking, talk about biodiesel. So we're inviting the Teamsters. We're inviting the companies that run the the generator company. companies that rent, there's some that will never go bio, they say, and some that are trying really hard. They're going B5 or B10. So we just want to have this conversation. We talk about idling. We want people, I'm actually going to have a visual, like, here's what a cubic ton of carbon looks like. It's this size. And here every 5 minutes is this. So we're just going to make it easy to understand why when we say stop idling, it isn't because we're bossy. It's because it's important.
Got it. For our listeners who just joined us, we've got Eva Radke. She's the president and founder of Film Biz Recycling. To check out more of what she's doing, it's Film Biz with a Z, Film Biz, B-I-Z, recycling.org. Eva, when I first met you, you only had a couple of employees. How many employees do you have now?
We have 11 now, 11 wonderful guys.
So now, since you are the big boss, since you are the president and founder, talk a little bit about being an ecopreneur, a woman ecopreneur, a leader in sustainability. What's your management style with your 11 employees as you grow and continue to scale your business?
I would say that my management style is, first of all, I'm going to hire people who are genuinely good people who believe in what we're doing. Because I think you can teach anybody everything. And then what we do, once we do that and they're trained, I give them a challenge, I give them creative freedom, and then I get out of their way with the knowledge that I still have veto power. Right. I really want people to, I think that when you are satisfied with your work, you put more into it. I'm not a micromanager. So I feel like I'm not really sure if my femininity plays into this, but I like to feel like that we're a family, and that and people and that we're an organism, and that people's lives are going to come into work, and their work is going to come into their lives, and if that's seamless and it's not painful, and people can cry at their desk, or have a bad day, or need a day off, or whatever it is, like, of course. Because we're all humans that work here, and without that human element, you're not going to have the greatest customer service. I want people happy. Their happiness is important to me. And in fact, I remember there was someone who just wasn't quite happy. I was like, well, it looks like we need to work on finding you another place to go that you will be happy. And that's, right. I really feel that way. Like, I guess I care a lot about who comes in here because their little pixie dust goes everywhere and it affects everybody. I guess the way I see it is like we're a living organism, and the health of it is up to me. I have to feed it.
Well, because Green is Good now, we're so lucky. It's played nationally on Clear Channel, coast to coast, and then it's uploaded on iTunes around the world. There's lots of young ecopreneurs that want to be the next Eva Radke. What's your advice for them? Say you had them in a room today, and you're teaching them how to be a great president or CEO or leader of their organization. What's your one or two pearls of wisdom that you would throw out to them and say, do this, and it's going to be good?
I would say the first thing you're going to have to truly understand is there will be personal sacrifices. If you aren't willing to make those sacrifices, if you're not willing to empty your bank account, if you're not willing to put your relationship on hold, if you're not willing to take a chance, that just is what it's going to take. You are going to have to be able to take a punch and get up the next day. There have been plenty of times when I look at myself in the mirror with tears in my eyes and say, am I a fool? What have I done? What have I gotten myself into? And then the next day, there's something to celebrate. So it's just keep on doing it, believing it, educate yourself, but also realize you have to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And that people who believe in it. You don't have employees; they're all partners. So I want to keep the strata of boss and employee as understanding that we all need each other.
What's your strongest quality as a leader?
I think that I've been through it, and I'm human, and that I've also been a really hard worker, that my standards are high, but I'm also understanding. And I also feel like that I can really judge people and see into people and know what their strengths are. I can pull their strengths out and use that. Whenever you have to replace somebody for one reason, somebody goes back to school or whatnot, you're going to get a new person. Instead of trying to fit the job description to the person, have the person build their own job description. So using their talents and using them, you're going to get the best of it and breathe a breath of fresh air into your mission.
Like I said, Eva, at the top of the show, when we first met, you were 2,700 feet. You're now at 11. What's the next step for Film Biz Recycling? And if money was no object, what's your dream project and to take this organization to the next level?
Well, I would love to be in Los Angeles, and I'd love to be in New Orleans. There's some big hubs. I'd like to have a trucking fleet. I'd like to have, if this is money no object question, boy, I can do that. I would love to be able to go to the sets, pick them up. I would like to, to make it as easy for them as possible, take it back, deliver to our partner charities, to bring in more talent for development and outreach, to have, monthly functions where we can really reach out to everybody in the film industry and empower them and tell them this is what kind of good we're doing. It's really having the ability to get the message out and to be in different cities and to franchise. And to make it sort of a machine that every single person in the industry knows that no matter what project we're working on, in the end, whether we're winning an Oscar or a Rotten Tomato, my work is going to do some good.
Your work is always Oscar worthy. There's no Rotten Tomatoes with you. What's the next 10 years look like? I mean, how are you going to evolve this, organization over the next 10 years? Do you really feel New Orleans and LA are in the cards? And is it going to take 5 years? Is it going to take 2? What do you think? What do you think are in the cards for you the next 10 years?
I think for instance, to get New Orleans and LA off the ground, there's going to have to be a superstar in that city that wants to make that happen with us as a partner. So it's going to take some money, honey, and I've got the time. It's somebody who recognizes and wants, because right now NBCU has recognized that we're the easiest city to shoot green in, just because Film Biz is here. So I want someone to say, hey, I want that for LA, or hey, I want that from New Orleans. And those guys over in New York know what they're doing. Let's franchise this. So that's where I kind of see this becoming city by city by city. And also in the UK. There's so much going on there, too. So I would like to just connect the dots and string this all together so it's a movement and a household name.
Got it. Eva, we're down to the last couple of minutes here or so. I'm on your website, filmbizrecycling.org. I love your website. And what I love about it is on it, when you click the button to talk about your charity partners, it just explains all these amazing partners that you do so much good for. How did you come to choose all these wonderful charity partners?
Sometimes it was proximity and whatever's closest to us to keep the footprint smaller. But, for instance, Blissful Bedrooms, they redo bedrooms of severely disabled teens who never really leave their bedrooms too often, so they make them super awesome and cool. We found each other on Craigslist. She was looking for paint, and I was trying to give away paint. She came over, and then I saw what her mission was, and she was just getting started. And I said, well, let's be friends forever. And so now whenever they have a project, they rate our prep house. They can have anything they want. It's just sometimes they approach us, and sometimes we approach them, and sometimes it's a Google search, sometimes it's a meeting at a party. It just sort of all happens. We have these resources, and we want to give them away.
That's so cool. You're such a leader in the sustainability movement and what I call either evolution or revolution. If you could be EPA director for a day, what would you change in terms of environmental policy that exists today, Eva, out there? What would you wave your magic wand for that one day and get changed with regards to our environment?
Oh my gosh, there's so much. Well, if it was the EPA director of the whole wide world, my first thought is enough with the plastic, enough with the styrofoam. Enough. It's choking us, it's killing us. Let's innovate our way out of plastic and styrofoam. Unless it's something that biodegrades and isn't choking our oceans, thus ourselves. If I was in charge of policy for the film industry, I would say no more throwing things away that can be reused, because there's a social benefit added on top of the benefit of not creating pollution in a landfill and wasting that opportunity. So, that's my answer to that.
I love it. I love it. And thank you. You know, Eva, we thank you for coming back on. We can't wait to have you back on a third time as Green is Good. For our listeners out there, support Eva Radke's business, www.filmbizrecycling.org, or go to her warehouse in Gowanus, Brooklyn. Eva, thank you for being the inspiring leading lady of recycling in the film and television industries. You are truly living proof that green is good.